In this report, I'm going to talk about charging best practice of Tesla Model 3 with LFP battery. Friends, you know that some Tesla Model 3s in China are already coming with LFP batteries, and I saw a very good discussion in Tesla Reddit where one person was talking about thoughts on charging best practice of Tesla Model 3 made in China with SR Plus with LFP battery pack. Welcome back, dear friends. This is Arben Haria from torquenews.com. If you are here first time, please subscribe to our channel for daily breaking Tesla and EV news and ring the bell so you don't miss my next coverage. And also please give us thumbs up and like this video if you find it informative and helpful. A Reddit user from Tesla Motors Reddit group named Koinoner has some very interesting saying. This is for those who receive a Model 3 with the LFP battery. That's 2021 SR Plus from Shanghai. It's made in China, Model 3 SR Plus. So he says, as is well known, the daily and trip segments from the charge limit settings have been removed, and there is that one Chinese social media Tesla statement going around with a recommendation to charge the car to 100% at least once a week. This is a surprise for electric vehicle owners who are used to NMC and NCA batteries that experience high degradation at 100% state of charge. It's called SOC, state of charge. Charging this high would obviously benefit the available depth of discharge, DOD, at a given minimum charging of say 20% and positively impact the overall range. Among many sources regarding LFP, many from the solar community, this 2020 paper was particularly useful in contrasting the three relevant battery chemistries, which I have the link in the description of this video. As I'm going to talk about his thoughts for discussion for best practices to charge a Tesla with LFP battery, please, based on your experience in the comments section, write your best practices of charging a Tesla in general and Tesla with NMC, NCA or LFP battery. So for his thoughts for discussion, the first thought is LFP batteries outperform NMC and NCA in the full cycles available until the battery is declared as done at 80% of its original capacity. He says if LFP batteries can go for 2,500 plus full cycles using 100% of battery capacity available for full to empty until they reach 80% of their original performance, they will outlast the life of the car for practical purposes. This is great news for people worrying about battery health throughout ownership and for resale of their Tesla vehicle to discerning buyers. It would be good to know more about the retail life of the specific packs and battery management combination used in the SR Plus, the standard range plus, as this number will impact all of the points below. His second point is LFP batteries still degrade faster at a high DOD and when charged to 100% SOC. However, less so than NCA and NMC. In combination with more available cycles, it may therefore be fine to utilize a wider percent of range of the battery and frequently charge LFP to full. If you remember, the DOD was the discharge, the depth of discharge, and SOC was the state of charge. He says the accelerated degradation of NCA and NMC at full charge is obviously what is behind the don't charge to 100% unless you need to rule for most electric vehicles. Since LFP does not suffer as much of this and should in theory have a lot more cycles in reserve, it may be fine to frequently charge an LFP Model 3 all the way to 100% without excessive worries about battery health, particularly if we run the battery at a lower depth of the DOD that increases the available cycles before the battery is considered done even further. If we assume a minimum charge of 20% for the sake of a range buffer and battery protection, running a Model 3 between 100% and 20% with 80% DOD at our disposal would in theory still result in such a high cycle lifespan that the added range over running between 80% to 90% max charge and 20% minimum charge would far outweigh the benefits of irrelevant additional decades of battery lifespan in such a vehicle. This is particularly true for those who can't charge at home and benefit from a fuller available capacity utilization. Here is the third thought, and then I'm going to tell you his conclusions. The third thought is, given the above, charging LFP regularly to 100% should not be problematic and may assist with battery management and SOC range accuracy. State of charging range accuracy. He says, since LFP batteries have very flat voltages, it appears to be difficult to exactly determine the accuracy of state of charging. Charging the battery full may therefore in theory provide a reference point for the battery management system to base further calculations on. I suspect this is behind the recommendation, with the understanding that this outweighs the degradation argument given the above factors. Until we learn more about this from Tesla or manufacturer CATL specifically, it is probably best to assume this in the case. As you know, CATL is doing the LFP batteries for Teslas, made in China Teslas. Now, his conclusions are the following. Scenario 1, charge at home. In this case, I would personally charge my Model 3 to 100% once a week before driving it off to give the battery management system its reference point, but whilst avoiding to have it sit at 100% unnecessarily. On the other days, I would set it at a charge limit that ensures I will never go below a 20% buffer, whilst only using the maximum DOD required for my driving needs. This will in theory ensure that the battery will far outlast the life of the car. Here's his second scenario, reliance on public chargers. In this case, he says, if I could get away with charging the car once a week, I would always charge it to 100% and utilize 80% DOD until a 20% buffer is reached before recharging. At this DOD, the impact of a 100% charge should not be relevant and offset by the additional range. If I had to charge the car twice or more a week to cover the range required, I would charge it to 100% for battery management once and then to a lower charge limit for subsequent charges in the same week, however low it can be, to reduce charging times and DOD stress just in case for now. He also says, the above would consolidate the battery management argument with reasonable battery protection. Should data become available that confirms that this specific setup handles many thousands of full cycles even at 100% DOD, I would then move to a set and forget at 100% philosophy and drive the car down to 10% if needed. Until then, I still think it is prudent to limit the DOD where feasible and not unnecessarily charge to full more than once a week, just in case the setup does not perform as well as individual LFP cells do under lab conditions. I hope this helps, he says, some of you who receive as little useful charging information as I did, being none, when I picked up the car, and have since tried to make sense of what is different about our LFP vehicles. On a side note, I had no use whatsoever with my LFP Model 3 with 2021.4.12 software in a warm climate. It charges at expected speeds and is very predictable in terms of percent used for trips. My findings My findings to date, he says, make me rather happy to have an LFP battery, as the car otherwise performs very well. I'm looking forward to a discussion of my tentative conclusions, as I am certainly no battery expert and a lot of factors could play into this theory. Well, friends, let me know what your thoughts are on this person's the best practices. His username on Reddit is Koinonair, and do you agree with his thoughts? Have you tried anything to do best practices for your Tesla charging and best practices for your LFP Tesla charging if you are in China? And I honestly don't know if those Model 3s that Giga Shanghai is shipping to Europe, are they using LFP batteries? I believe they use LFP batteries, so a lot of people may be interested in this topic. If you have any friends with Tesla or Tesla with LFP battery, please forward them this report. They may find it useful, and I will look forward to reading your best practices of charging your Tesla. This is Armin Harayan from TorqueNews.com. Please subscribe to our channel for daily Tesla news if you are here first time, and also please like this video and give it thumbs up so we can put it in front of more people through Google and YouTube. Have a great day, friends. God bless you, and I'll see you soon in our next report.